Hello everyone, it is Professor Parish, and I am a little under the weather, but not under the weather enough to not talk about annotated bibliographies. So, hopefully by this point you have watched the Paper 4 Guidelines video. If you have not done that, then please pause this, turn it off, and go back and watch the Paper 4 video, because I want you guys to know kind of what you have in mind for Paper 4 before you start this assignment. Now, if you already know what you're doing for Paper 4, kudos! You are ready to learn about the Annotated Bibliography Assignment. Now, this assignment typically it gets some students kind of worked up because they see annotated bibliography and they think, oh my gosh, what is this? This looks foreign and weird and like it's going to be a lot of work. It's really not. It's actually a pretty straightforward assignment, and I have you guys do this for Paper 4 for a very specific reason, which I will go over today in this video. So, like I said, before we start, if you've not gotten your Paper 4 topic picked out, or if you've at least not watched the video, then please go do that now. There is, and I will show you, minimize this real quick, there is in our syllabus handouts and videos page, if you scroll down to week 7, or week 8, sorry. Week 8, there is Paper 4 Guidelines here, and there is our bibliography presentation, which I'm going over today. But if you keep scrolling down, you will actually get to the video links. I know they're in a separate part. I wish I could put them all together on here, but the software won't let me do it. But if you keep scrolling down, you will find under week 8 a video that I've made currently for the Paper 4 Guidelines. And then this video, which you're watching now, will be right beside it. So just go to that syllabus, handouts, and videos page, scroll down, and you will see these videos. So just showing you where those are. But back to the presentation. Annotated bibliographies. What are they? They're typically an assignment that a lot of English professors will have you do in school. You may find yourself doing something similar in another class. This is not just a major specific course assignment, but let me get down on here and select. All right. So, start this slideshow off. All right, so an annotated bibliography is simply these things. Annotated is a simple word for notes or summary, meaning that you're summarizing something or you're writing notes about it. That's all annotated means. And bibliography is just a fancy word for our works cited page. Which, a note about that. Some of you, I've noticed with Paper 2, you guys have kind of skirted around the edge of not putting your works cited page in your paper. Some of you I've noted didn't cite the book or you didn't use in-text citations. And you'll notice in your grading rubric, there's not a lot of points dedicated towards the works cited page yet. There is going to be a steep curve in these last two papers where a lot of points are going to be designated towards your works cited page and your in-text citations. So if you've been kind of riding the wave and not worrying too much about in-text citations or works cited citations, you might want to now, because the next two papers, your drama paper and especially your research paper, are going to rely quite a bit point-wise on your works cited page and your citations. So I want to make sure that you're doing them right so that you get all the points that you can. So please go back to that syllabus page, look at the MLA citation presentation, watch the video again, and email me if you have questions, because now would be the time to ask before you have an MLA review exam, which you will in the next week, and before you have your final papers due, because I want you guys to get those points on that part of the assignment. So I want everybody to kind of be on an equal footing. And some of you are putting the citations in your paper, and that is awesome. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Thank you. But for those of you that aren't, please keep that in mind, because I'm not sure if maybe you're not comfortable with it yet, and if so, you need to be asking questions. All right? Because this assignment especially is going to rely on your knowledge of how to cite an MLA, which we've been working with over the last few weeks. So, an annotated bibliography is basically a summary of the sources you're going to use on your works cited page. And I have you guys do this for a couple of reasons. One, because it lets me know that you can find sources on your topic. A lot of students will pick a topic for a paper and there's just not that much research on it. And that's not a bad thing when you think about it. Because when you think about it, a topic that's not been researched a lot probably needs to be researched. So if you're having trouble finding sources, this assignment will point that out, and it can help myself and you figure out where you can find those sources to work for your paper. But also it makes sure that you understand how to cite your sources. Because remember, as I stated in the paper number 4 guidelines video, you don't get a chance to revise your last paper. Your only real revision is in the peer review discussion forum that we're going to be doing. And so I would encourage you all to look into sources that will work for your paper and putting them in this assignment. So you can get the MLA checked out, and then you can copy and paste the MLA from this assignment into your actual works cited page on your essay. So you're kind of, getting 2 birds with 1 stone. You're going to use sources that will work for paper 4 in this assignment, and then copy and paste those citations into the works cited page for your final paper. So it's the reason I have you guys do this now is because it's a nice warm up for the MLA you're going to use on your final paper. All right. But that being said, the sources you find for this assignment are not set in stone. So if you're not sure about what sources you're going to use and you just find some to work for this assignment, you don't have to use them for paper 4. It's just an option. It's just a lot of students like to do it to use sources that they're going to use anyway because they get the citations out of the way. But some students have no idea which sources they're going to use. So they just find some for this assignment and then they find all new sources for their paper. And that's fine. It's whatever works for you. Right? So I know that my little screen is cutting off part of this, but basically you start an annotated bibliography assignment or an annotation within it by citing your source in MLA format. And again, go back to that works cited presentation, go back to that video. I would not use your Wadsworth handbook because it's outdated. And I would be very, very careful about citation generators. I know I can tell some of you have used them because I've gotten used to how it spits out citations. Some of you are using APA instead of MLA, so just be careful of that. Like I said, go back to the presentation and I go over all the different kinds of sources you're probably going to cite. Then, after you cite the source in MLA, you'll skip a space and then you'll write a small paragraph about the source. And by small paragraph, I literally mean 3 to 5 sentences. You're going to summarize its content, why it's relevant or a good source, and then how you're going to use it in the paper. So if you wrote a sentence for each, that's just 3 sentences. If, let's say, you summarize and you do 2 sentences for that, and then you do, another extra sentence just to help explain some more. I mean, 3 to 5 sentences for an annotation is pretty basic. Now, if you were in grad school, I know when I did this assignment in grad school, we would write like a page per source, but you all are not English majors, so I'm not going to make you do that. But a paragraph for each source is pretty reasonable, and it will show me that you are using sources that are credible, that will have an importance in your paper, and that you know what the source is about. Because I'll be honest, and I did this too when I was in college, when I was first starting out, there were a lot of times that if I needed a source for paper, I would punch into Google my topic, and the first source that popped up, I'd use it. And then when it came time to use that source, I found out that maybe a sentence was usable from the source. It was actually a terrible idea. That happens to a lot of students. So this assignment is going to try to curb that to where you're actually researching, reading your sources, and seeing if they will actually work or not, or if they're just literally a source you found on Google and you're like, oh wait, that's not going to work. So it's a nice way to kind of filter your sources as well. All right, so this is an example. For example, this right here would be my annotation. So for a source, I've got it up here. It is a web article. So I've got my last name, my author, my first name. I've got the example title in quotation marks. I've got the URL in italics. I have the publisher right behind it. I've got the date published, web, which is the medium, and then the access date. That's my citation for my web online article. And then in here, I've actually got 3 sentences. I know it looks like maybe more than that, but it's just 3 compound sentences discussing my source and what it's about, why it's credible. So I have it listed here. It's from a credible website founded by this journal, which is the leading source of example, blah, blah, blah. And then I have how I'm going to use it in my essay. And this is a pretty generic one. I mean, some of you may find a source that you're like, I'm going to use this right in my introduction. Or you may find a source that says, this source has a statistic that I will use when I talk about this point. However you want to go about it, as long as you tell me what this source is about, why it's credible, and how you're going to use it, those 3 things, then you will get all the points you can for that annotation. Now, obviously, if you are too vague, or if you're just like, it's credible because it's credible, then I'm going to be like, but why? So if you can give me a reason, you're going to be fine. And as I noted here, some summaries will be longer depending on your source, but they shouldn't be shorter than this. This is a very, very basic annotation. So like I said, 3 to 5 sentences explaining those 3 things. All right, so a bibliography is a collection of annotations in this case. So it's like a works cited page. Your annotations and your citations that you create should be in alphabetical order by the author's last name on the page. Or if there's no author, then you start with the title and the first letter in the title. What I usually do when I make these is I will find my sources, I'll cite them and do the annotations, and then I'll just highlight, copy and paste and reorder them in the order they need to be. And I think that's the easiest. But like I said, if it were me, I would try to find 4 sources that I know will work for my paper and that I'm maybe thinking about using. But like I said, you may not find 4 sources that really jump at you and grab you for your paper for this assignment, and that's fine. It's just your choice on how you want to go about researching it. But the assignment itself calls for 4 sources to be cited and annotated. So basically this assignment is worth quite a bit of points. It's worth 50 points, which is half a paper. It's a big assignment, and it's big for a reason, because this is prepping for your final paper. So you're getting 10 points per source, so that's 40 points. I usually do, within that 10 points a source, I will do 5 of those points will be for the citation itself, if you cited it correctly, and 5 points will be for if you describe the 3 things that you're supposed to. So the summary of what it's about, how you plan to use the source, and a definition of what makes it usable or credible for your essay. The other 10 points are going to be for things like grammar and formatting. So if you do it like the example that I showed you previously, you'll get all the points. I mean, this should be an easy 50 points for you guys to boost your grade and to keep your grade high in the class. I mean, this is kind of not only giving you sources for your paper and getting you to go ahead and cite them in MLA so that you're ready to input those into your final paper, but it's letting you know for sure that this topic will work for your paper. Now, you can't really see it at the bottom because my screen is it's cutting it off, but there is an extra credit opportunity in this assignment. I know, the rare extra credit. If you decide, let's say if you find 6 sources that you're like, all 6 of these will work for my paper, no problem. You can cite those 2 other sources and potentially get extra credit points as well. So if, let's say, you cite all 4 sources correctly with no grammar errors and no MLA citation errors, and then you cite an extra one, you could possibly get 60 out of 50 points. So I've had some students really take advantage of this and do a lot of extra credit, and then some that just did enough extra credit to kind of boost their grade on the original assignment. So that is entirely up to you how extreme you want to go with this, and of course it depends on time, and I want you guys to take your time and do this well. But I am going to give extra credit if you do more annotated bibliography annotations than just the main 4 you need to. All right. Hopefully I didn't run through that too fast. Okay. And remember, put your annotations in alphabetical order by the first letter of the author's last name or article title. And if you have questions, email me, ask me. There is no such thing as a dumb question. I know some of you have really taken advantage of this, and I'm happy that you email me because I'm happy to respond. And like I said, if you guys have questions, I want to know. I want to make sure you guys do well in this assignment since it is worth a lot. But just be sure to ask questions, all right? And go back and review the MLA citation presentation. I know I say that a lot, but some of you on the works cited projects we've had so far, some of you, the examples, the formula is in the presentation. Most of you should have made an 100 on that assignment because the answers for the formula parts were in our works cited presentation. So, or at least in the video when I talked about it. So just make sure that you go back and review those so that you're ready for this assignment. All right, so that's all I've got for this. This video is going to be up in our video links very soon. If you guys have questions about this or our paper 4, please let me know. I am excited to see your topics, and I'm excited to see what sources you find. All right, have a great day and a great week, and I'll talk to you guys later.